So today will be
Yeah.
about Active Directory and the tooling and like some information about it. So yeah, thank
Exactly.
you everyone for being here. And Ali, I will pass the mic to you, and we'll be able to see your screen once you share it. Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay. So just 1 second.
Welkom trouwens, Kenny. Hoi. Ja, goedenavond, Kenny. Programmer Boy die gaat vandaag een les geven over Active Directory. Hij gaat een box laten zien via Hack The Box en zijn aanpak daarvoor. Dus ja, hij is nu zijn scherm aan het delen. En ja, het is in het Engels. Ik ga weer even op de mute. Please proceed, Ali.
Okay, so right now I'm going to start off with the box machine, which is Forest right now. And just before starting out, I will be just going to give a brief information about myself. Like I am OSCP certified, OSEP certified, Hack the Box. I have done, I think so, more than 200 boxes on Hack the Box, and then done a lot of work on Active Directory, played a lot of things over there. So the reason why I have chose this box right over here is because this is, according to me, one of the most difficult box which is easy on Hack the Box, and it can teach you a lot of things right over here. So that's why I will be going to showcase this box right over here. And right now I am already connected to the VPN. I have started all of the things. This is my IP address right over here, which is, so right over here what I will be going to do is, I will, first thing first, whenever I am doing a lot of Active Directory stuff, I always start off with nmap scan. Whether I am in an organization, whether I am in anywhere, I always start off with nmap scan and see how many resources are there, what sort of things are going over there. So let's get started right away. So first thing first, I am right now in my Kali Linux. If you ask my setup right over here, I always use Kali Linux as my main operating system, and hopefully I use Windows, but in a virtual machine, not too much Windows. So first thing first, which I will always do is, I will always start off with the nmap scan, which is A-V, which dash A means aggressive scan, dash V means verbosity. Yeah.
Because we can only see your browser at this moment, we cannot see your terminal.
Okay, just 1 second. Let me see
Yes.
my settings.
Also, like one extra thing, there is a chat box here in Discord.
Yeah,
Some
I'm seeing that one.
yeah, some people they might like want to ask you a question, so
Yeah,
that
I'm all up. I'm all up.
perfect, brother.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Just 1 second. So I hope you all ask the questions in English, because I know English only right now over here. So just confirm. Yeah, okay. You can see it now. Okay, so right now in my terminal, I always use Terminator, and I will let you know why I use Terminator, and that I always start off with nmap scan, as I told before. So nmap dash A dash V, dash A means aggressive scan, dash V means verbosity, which means it will give me output onto my screen so I can see what is going on throughout the scan is going on. And then the IP address of the target, which is 10.10.10.161. And let's see how many ports are open and what we get right over here. So initially looking at the discovered open ports, I can see that I am having 445, 135, 139, 3268, 3269, then 593, 389, and 8. 8 is the main port which shows me that this is a domain controller, because 88 is a Kerberos port, and Kerberos is always running on domain controller. Yes. So exactly, the right now whenever we are doing a pen test and whenever we are doing things, we see these sort of open ports, and that's where exactly we need to go throughout. So we need to each and every port actually. That's how our pen test takes a lot of time. So I'm just waiting right now to do aggressive scan on all of these ports, and let's see the results, what sort of services are running on this one, and so on. Now the scan is done, and hopefully I can see that right over here. Yeah, exactly, port 88 is Kerberos, and right over here 135, 139, 389. So 135 is MSRPC, which is Microsoft Windows Remote Procedure Call, and right now in testing 135 is very less used because it is not much critical, but only in one case it can sometimes reveal some usernames. So someone has asked a question: does -a for an nmap scan actually do all the ports, or just the default amount of ports 1000? So -a does not do port scanning, it actually does an aggressive scan. So if I just show you in another terminal, if I just show you the help menu of this nmap, I can see right over here -a means aggressive scan and these sort of things. Yes. So we need to always use nmap dash p dash v, and then 10, 10, 10. But the problem is that it can take forever. So for me, it takes more than, I think so, 1 hour or 2 hours, right? So to fix that thing, actually, what I normally do is I send a lot of packets into the nmap scan. So for this purpose, I use one more flag, that is dash dash minimum dash rate is equal to 10,000 packets per second. So normally there are 65,535 ports overall. So if I am sending 10,000 packets per second, so my full port scan will approximately take 6 seconds, because 10,000 packets per 1 second. So 65,000 ports, so 6.5 seconds, most probably you can say 7 or 8 seconds. So if I hit enter right over here, most probably it will be very fast. But the reason why I don't normally do this one is because I'm sending a lot of packets, it can miss some ports as well. So right over here, let's see how much time it takes when I'm doing 10,000 packets per second, and it has found out a bunch of open ports as well. And normally the ones which are starting from 14,000 are not too interesting, because those are again Microsoft remote procedure calls. So you can see roundabout in 10 to 15 seconds, I got a full port scan already done. So this is a benefit point of dash dash minimum dash rate is equal to 10,000 packets per second. Afterwards, what I can try to do over here is, because I want to scan all of these open ports, so what I can do is I normally use Sublime Text Editor. So I will open, let's say, any random test file, and I paste all of these over here. So first thing first, I normally like to do is I need to filter these all things. So to filter, I cannot do manually, so I will use a command line tool called cut, and I will cut it based upon this part over here. So first line, I can remove it manually. Then I will say whatever is on the left side of the slash, cut it off. So I will now simply do cat test.txt, then pipe it out to cut. Then I need to give the delimiter. So the delimiter is a slash sign, because I want to cut on based on the forward slash. And then I will say I want to grep for the field number 1, and if I hit enter, now you can see I am always having this one. So if I do one more time, all ports I am having over here. Now again, I will copy all of these ports, I will paste over here. Now I want these by comma separated, because these are all on new lines. So what I can try to do over here is control H onto my keyboard, and I will say that replace every new line which is \n, and make sure you have dot static regex checked over here. Replace, yeah, sure. So this is the cut command right over here, which I normally use to filter out. So then what I like to do is I always go for \n, then I replace every new line with a comma, and now I can click on replace all, but I will be going to click on Control Alt Enter. So Control Alt Enter, and now I have the all of the ports format in my nmap scan format. So I can now copy these all, and I can come over here and I can simply do nmap -a -v -p for ports, paste all of the ports over here, and 10 10 10 61. So this is how I normally do full port scan, and normally it takes only 4 to 5 minutes for me. And now I have a full port scan, aggressive scan, and you can see all of the discovered open ports are open, and now it's directly going over to aggressive scan and finding all of these services. So meanwhile, my all these ports are open, and that is going in the background. Let's go for our basic top 1000 ports right over here. First thing first, which I directly see over here, is 445, which shows me that Windows Server 2016 is running. Yeah, I can script this whole process as well, but normally I like normally a lot of manual things, because I remember commands like in this way and these sort of things. So we can do a lot of automation right over here. The other thing, yes, I normally do script vulnerability scanning as well, but normally nowadays script vulnerability scanning is, for me, a little too old way to do those one, because those scripts are way too old, and you might get something. So you can get MS17010 if it is available, and you can get some username enumerations and do other sort of things as well, but I normally don't do it. The only thing which I will going to show you with dash dash script one over here is I will do some specific thing which I will show you right in the next part over here. Then I can see Windows Server 2016 over here is running, and port 88 is Kerberos. So definitely this is a domain controller. I can see the domain as well. The domain is htb.local. So this one is interesting. Now, since there is no website, there is no web browser, no any website, so what I need to do is I need to find some stuff over here. Now, one of the most important thing regarding Active Directory is that I normally always start off with finding some usernames, because that's the most important thing in real world engagement and in real pen test, that we are always in terms of finding some usernames, and then we go for some passwords. So let's see. Yes, so first thing first, I want to find for some usernames. Now I will be going to leave you a very good tip for OSCP as well. Right now I will not be going to do over here, but for OSCP I have seen this, a lot of my students also have seen this, that whenever you get port 8, you can use a very famous tool called Kerberos, and you can try to do username enumeration. So if I do Kerberos GitHub, right now this is a tool which performs a brute force attack on domain controller, and it tries to find out some potential usernames. So this is a very famous tool, and this works very well in OSCP as well. So a lot of people use this tool to get some usernames in OSCP. Now coming back towards over here, right now my main go-to ports for attacking is SMB, because SMB has some shares, so I can normally get some shares out of port 45. So first thing first, which I normally use is, let me make my notes over here. So I'll just copy this thing and add it into my Sublime text, so I can clear my terminal and clear my screen. Yes, so first thing first, I normally use for SMB, I normally use SMB map, and I will say -h for host 10.10.10.161, and the username I normally try with anonymous. So username anonymous, password of anonymous, and if I hit enter, let's see what it shows up. Right now I normally make notes on Obsidian. Obsidian is one of my go-to tools to make notes, but when I want, it depends upon like what sort of notes I'm making out. Like when I'm doing Hack the Box machine, for Hack the Box I don't want any sort of notes. I just keep all of my stuff in one Sublime text editor file, and this is how it looks like. If I want to take some notes for myself, I normally take screenshots. So just showing you right now, I also have my notes public right over here, which are on notes.programmersecurity.com. So right now I make every note over here, but Obsidian is my go-to tool. So right over here, when you will go to notes.programmersecurity.com, you will be going to see right now very less notes are right over here. Normally my most of the stuff is for bug bounty, my bug bounty methodology and all of the things. But let's say if you want to see how to pen test on for, so you can see all of my commands right over here, which I am having, how to pen test, on which tool you can use. Net exec is one of the latest one, and these sort of things. So right now I am most probably I'm doing this one. Still there is a lot of work to be done on this one, but right now I make my notes over here. So whenever I got stuck somewhere, let's say I don't remember my SMB client command, so I normally open my website, I just copy it from here and paste it in my terminal. So that's the fastest way, which I like for me. Otherwise, for the last 4 or 5 years, I was doing Obsidian. Okay, so SMB map doesn't show me anything. The other tool I can use is SMB client, just to confirm that if it is not working. So you can see right over here, SMB client -n. So I can simply copy this command right over here, paste it over here. That's all. Change the IP and make my works much more easy. So if I hit enter now, anonymous login successful, but there is no share at all. So SMB map is not showing me anything, and SMB client is also not showing me anything. So right now my SMB sort of stuff is out of the way. The last thing which I can see over here is, yeah, there is one more tool, one very famous tool, that is called enum for Linux. So whenever SMB 135, RPC and all of these ports are open, and especially it is Active Directory, in Active Directory I would highly recommend you that always use enum for Linux tool. That is a very old tool, but actually it works very well. So enum for Linux -a, and then you need to hit enter, and let's see what it shows me up right now. So enum for Linux, let's see, take some time, and now it shows me a bunch of stuff. I will just make my screen short. Yes, this is the proper IP. Okay, so my enum for Linux actually gave me a bunch of stuff right over here, and right over here in this one it directly shows me users on 10.10.10.160, and right over here I can see some users. Okay, so let me zoom this a little bit. When I will zoom this, it can be some messy, but Let's see. So right over here it shows me some users. Right now it is showing me health mailbox, a lot of random default sort of stuff. Yes, so right now I will going to show you how this Enum for Linux tool is getting this information. Either it is from LDAP, either it is from RDP, oh sorry, RPC, or what sort of thing. So right now I will going to show in just 1 minute. But right over here I can see some usernames: Lucinda, Mark, Santi. Now if I scroll down a little bit more, I can see administrator, guest, KRBTGT, then some random names. Then I'm having Sebastian, Lucinda, SVCL Fresco, Andy, Mark, and Sandy. So in a pentest Active Directory, these are my go-to things which I always look for. So if I just come back over here, I will add, okay, let's see below these. It tried to find out some shares, but it couldn't find out any share. Then password policy, I can see the password policy right over here. Minimum password length is 7, password history length and password age not set. So there is no sort of a complex password policy right over here which I can see. Yeah, only it says that the minimum password length should be 7, which we will test in future as well. Right now, yeah, password complexity, it is disabled. And then there are some groups right over here which I can see. There are a bunch of groups. Then it's trying to get some built-in group memberships, but I will press Control C right over here because I have some much more information. So first thing first, I will always go for make a file called users.txt. Whenever you are doing Active Directory pen testing, make sure you do this thing frequently. If you have found any one user, you should always add it into a file right over here. And there were some administrator and those, well, those I will add manually. So right over here again, I will be going to do some filtering over here. So the first part over here, I will find and replace. So Control H and replace it with empty. So Control Alt Enter. Let me try one more time. Control H, Control Alt Enter. The first part is gone. Now for the second part, because these all are different, I cannot do it using regex or find and replace. So again, I will use cut. So cat users.txt, pipe it out to cut. The delimiter will be, in my case, closing square bracket. And then I will grab for field number 1 again. And now I do have some usernames which I can copy paste directly. So save. Now there were some other users at the top like administrator. I will add those manually. I think so. There was one more. Let me confirm. Administrator, guest, KRBTGT. I don't care about these all. So now you can see I have found some potential usernames. But a question can come over here is that let's say we were not able to find. Okay, before going out on further, I will show you how Enum for Linux got these usernames. So what actually Enum for Linux did was it actually enumerated port 135, which is MSRPC. And as I told you, in Active Directory it is a little bit for use for us, but in other sort of stuff when it is not Active Directory, this port doesn't help us a lot. So what it did was it used a tool called RPC client and it logged into this tool anonymous. So RPC client, and the command for this one is most probably dash and the user is null. And let's give the IP address and let's see what happens. Enter. Cannot connect to this one. So let's see. I think so. I don't want to give the password, so I will say dash capital N. So don't ask me for the password, and I logged in. Now when I logged in a RPC client, there are some functions, and the function is very famous is if I type in enum and if I press tab onto my keyboard 2 times, you can see after typing enum, I can see enum ALS groups, enum data X, enum DOM users. So I will call enum DOM users right over here, hit enter, and exactly the same thing is the one which Enum for Linux provided me out. So actually Enum for Linux is doing this all automatically. I don't need to do this manually. And exactly when we are dealing with a lot of huge amount of stuff, we need some sort of automation like Enum for Linux and these sort of things. Yeah, RPC client does have a help menu right over here. I don't think so, but if I see help, yeah, exactly. So this is all the help of RPC client, and this is huge. So let's move on, exit out from here. Okay, so now I have some usernames right over here. What is the next thing in an Active Directory you can do? There are a lot of things. First thing is if you are doing a real world engagement, which I mostly do, I normally create some usernames, random usernames with the name of the company or with the name of the, let's say, season. Let's say winter 2024, summer 2024, or company name and then 2024, and whatever it is. Either I make a word list with these common passwords, or I normally do some sort of attacks directly, like Kerberosting, AS rep roasting. These two are the one go-to attacks. But the problem is for Kerberosting, we need a password. Kerberosting cannot be done if we don't have the password of the user. So in my case right now, I cannot do Kerberosting right now. I can only do AS rep roasting. And what is AS rep roasting? In Active Directory, there is a misconfiguration which actually shows us in which there is no Kerberos pre-authentication set. So what actually happens is that, let's say in Active Directory there is Kerberos, we go to Kerberos by our NTLM hash, we tell us that we want our TGT, which is ticket granting ticket. So Kerberos gets our password, Kerberos then gives us TGT, okay? But what is the thing over here? We are giving Kerberos our password, and then Kerberos is giving us TGT back. But when we are exploiting AS rep roasting, we do not need to provide our password. We will just go to Kerberos and we will say that, hey, let's say I am Sebastian. So I will go to Kerberos. I will say, hey, I'm Sebastian. Can you please give me my TGT? And Kerberos will say, hey, okay, sure. I can give you your TGT, which is a very huge misconfiguration. So that's what we will be going to do now. And for this, I normally use a script from impacket. So I will do impacket dash, let's press tab to see what sort of scripts are over here in my impacket. So impacket is one of the go-to toolkit for Active Directory pen testing, and impacket does a lot of attack vectors in Active Directory. But right over here, I want to do AS rep roasting attack. So what I will going to do is, let's see, out of this all scripts, I think so that is get impacket get np users. So get np users is the one which will provide me my hash. So let's try this one. So impacket dash get np users, and let's see its help menu to how to use this script actually, because when we are dealing with Active Directory, we need to always see the help menu, because we cannot remember every command on by own. So we need to give the domain slash username colon password. So I don't have the password, so because it is in square brackets, this means it is optional. I can give the domain, but before giving the domain, I will add that domain in my etc host file, because so that it should resolve to this IP. So in my etc host right over here, I will do 10.10.10.161, and then I will be going to do htb.local, save this one, and now let's try to use this tool. So I will say impacket dash get np users, domain is htb.local. Now a very good thing about this tool is that I don't even need to provide usernames as well, but I think so it was, but I will provide it. So if I see the help menu one more time, I need to provide a users file over here with dash users file, and I need to request for TGT, because I will be going to Kerberos and I will be saying that, hey, I want the TGT for this all users. And then since I don't have the password, so I should use no password flag over here as well. And then I need to give the DC IP address as well. So let's try now. So impacket get np users, domain is htb.local, and then I will say that the users file is users.txt, and then I will say dash dc dash ip is 10.10.10.160, and then I will say request for TGT. Let's see if this works. If this not, I will see what works. And there you go. So you can see right over here that now this command actually worked, and it shows me that there is one user which is svc alfresco, and this user actually does not have Kerberos pre-authentication set, which means anyone can come in and get its TGT, and that's what we have got the same. So I have got its TGT right over here, and now I will save it into a new file. I will say hash alfresco, paste that hash over here in this another file, and now the thing is that I need to crack this hash. So again, for cracking purposes, there are two tools, hashcat and John the Ripper. Both of them are absolutely fine, and let's try to see which I can use. I will use John. So I will say John, and then I will say, let's say I will pass it out the hash, then I will do word list is equal to, I always use user share word list rockq.txt, and let's hit enter, and let's see whether I can crack it out or no. So the hash type, it will automatically detect that what sort of hash type it is. So this is in the latest version of hashcat as well and John as well, that it automatically detects what sort of hash it is. And there you go. I normally prefer hashcat because I was having a GPU in my CPU. So if you are having a proper graphic card, you should always use hashcat. If you're not having graphic card, then use John. So Sam has asked, can you explain why you can see the hash then that user with im packet get np? The reason is that Kerberos will always give you a TGT, which is a hash. So what happens is that you will go to Kerberos with your password. In this case, we don't have any password, so this is a misconfiguration right over which we are exploiting. But in real case, we go to Kerberos with our password, and then Kerberos gives us back a TGT in hash format. You can say that this is how the TGT is looking like, just to say for your example. So Kerberos will always give you a hash sort of thing. Okay, so now we have the username and the password for SVC Alfresco. So one thing which I will directly try now is I will be going to log in to this one. So let's see how we can log in. Since I saw that there was 3, I think so, in my nmap. Yeah, in nmap doesn't shows, but I did full port scan. So let's see in my full port scan what sort of ports are open exactly. So in my full port scan, I can see 5985 port open, and 5985 port is actually for evil win rm. Right now, I don't know why my nmap is giving HTTP, and you will be going to see that this is web server, but 5985 port is actually Windows remote management. So WinRM right over here. So what is the use of port? This one, WinRM is the port. So Windows remote management means that anyone can log in remotely. So if I have a username and a password, why not try to logging in with evil WinRM? So evil dash win rm. The syntax is dash I for the IP address, dash u for the username, svc dash alfresco, and dash p for the password. The password is service. If I hit enter, and now you can see I have successfully got logged in. So this was half of the machine, and this is exactly the same methodology which we always try if we are going for some sort of OSCP exam. If we are doing in real world, most probably 9% this is very similar stuff when we are dealing with Active Directory. So a lot of tools are doing. The only thing which I didn't did right over here is password spraying, and we can do that as well. So if I just show you my password spraying as well. So let me show you one last thing which we know most probably in real world engagements do most of the time. So let's say I have found some users file. These all are the users, and I will make a password as well because I just found a password of service, right? So this was the password. So now I have users and I have a password. I normally do password spraying with a tool called crackmap-exec. Crackmap-exec is one of the my go-to tool which is I normally use for password spraying. So crackmap-exec, a Swiss Army knife for pen testing stuff, and this one is my go-to tool. So let's see how to use crackmap-exec because I already have installed it. So if I do crackmap-exec, and we need to see for what sort of purpose. So if I see the help menu right over here, I normally use crackmap-exec. Yes, the new one which on my website right over here, which I have added over here, is net-exec. I know net-exec is very powerful as well, but I normally use crackmap-exec right now. So that's how I go on. So crackmap-exec has some different protocols right over here: RDP, LDAP, SMB, MSSQL, SSH, WinRM, and FTP. So I normally will go for SMB right now. If in SMB I fail, I will go to WinRM because I know WinRM port is open. So let's see. So if I do crackmap-exec SMB, then I will give my IP, which is 10.10.10.161. Then I will say that the users file is users.txt, the password file is password.txt, and I also like to add one more flag, which is continue dash on dash success, which means that if you have found the correct credentials, don't stop here, complete the complete dictionary attack. So let's see what it shows now. And now this is called password spraying, that I have one password and I am actually attacking the service. So right over here, you can see that it shows that SVC Alfresco and service, and it shows a plus green sign, which means that these credentials are correct. But can I log in? No. Otherwise, it should show me in yellow color pound. I cannot still log in. But what if I do WinRM? Yeah, crackmap-exec is not supported, but still it works well. It works well, and hopefully in the future we will going to shift towards net exec, but right now it works well. And there you go. now you can see it shows me that in WinRM I can log in. WinRM shows me that I can log in to 5985 port. It shows me pound sign, but in SMB I cannot. So this is again password spring and these sort of things which we can do. And this was the last thing, and now I am onto the box. Now this is where the one of the most difficult things starts out, right? So because we need to enumerate our own system and we need to gain domain controller access. So let's see how we can do this one. So first thing first, I normally see my own user information. So I will do any t user and I will say svc-l fresco, enter, and right over here I can see my own information, that is svcl fresco, and I can see it. I am a member of domain users and I am a member of service account. I know from the name as well that SVC, which means service account, and then El Fresco. Then I cannot see any other interesting stuff right over here. The other thing which I can do is I can list out the users for the complete domain as well. So I can do any user domain. This will show me all of the users currently on the domain. So right now there are all garbage except administrator, Andy, guest, Lucinda, Santi, Sebastian, Mark, and SVC Alfresco. Then that's fine as well. Let's see what else we can do. Now, right over here, there are a lot of things which I can do. So I will going to make it much more easier. And since this is one of the most difficult concept, that's why I actually chose this machine. That now the thing which we will going to do is one of the most difficult one, even for me right now after 4 or 5 years of experience as well. So let's see how it goes on. First thing first, we need to find out a vulnerability, or we need to find out like what sort of thing I can do, what sort of thing I can exploit to get complete domain administrator. Right now, I have no clue right over here. So directly going over to the stuff, I will be going to use a very famous tool that is called Bloodhound. Now, Bloodhound is an domain enumeration tool, and this is one of the most powerful tool in terms of active directory whenever we are dealing with you can say internal engagements, and there are a lot of systems, and I will let you know why. So again, a quick show you Bloodhound. So this is Bloodhound. Actually, we can use WinPs, we can use power up, we can use power view, we can use a lot of PowerShell scripts, but the problem is this is active directory, and WinPs, power up, and all of those things were built for standalone machines which are actually which have some different sort of misconfigurations and vulnerabilities, and which we can exploit and go on. So I will directly use now Bloodhound. Actually is normally installed on my own Kali Linux. So I will open a new terminal. To start Bloodhound, we need to actually first of all start its database. So to start its database, we need to use this command called neo4j console. Once it gets started, yeah, now my neo4j database is started. So I will split the terminal and I will type in Bloodhound, and now my Bloodhound should start onto my Kali machine right over here. So let's wait. Okay, while my Bloodhound is starting out, I think so. Yeah. So what I will be going to do is, yeah, now my Bloodhound started, and I already have configured my username and password right over here. That's why it says success and it automatically logs me in. And right now I will clear my database first of all, so that I should show you everything from scratch. Okay, this is how Bloodhound actually looks like. Now what we need to do is we need to collect all of the information from that Windows machine which we have gained access right over here, this one as svc alfresco. We will collect every information and we will upload the data over here, and then we will see our all active directory environment or the domain controller or the system in graphical view. That's the most powerful thing about Bloodhound. So let's start it directly, so that because the most important things is on way, so we should quickly do this one. So to collect all of the data, we use normally called Sharphound. Sharphound is a collector of Bloodhound, which will collect all of the data from our Windows machine, and it will make a zip file. And let's see how it works. So this is Sharphound. I will not waste a lot of time on downloading it because I already have onto my system somewhere. I don't know. But if I locate Sharphound onto my system.exe, it will be somewhere in my OPT tools and in a lot of places. So I will copy it from somewhere. So copy it into my current working directory. And now if I do ls right over here, you can see I have sharphound.exe file. You can download it from GitHub and a lot of places on Google. It is available easily. I'm just saving my time over here. Now the problem is I need to transfer this sharphound.exe over here. So evil winrm has a upload feature. So evil winrm, I will do upload sharphound.exe, hit enter, and it will upload sharphound.exe directly. This is a very good feature of evil winrm, upload and download. So now it's uploading sharphound from my Kali machine to the compromised target Windows machine. Okay, so sharphound has been uploaded successfully. So now what I will do is I will run sharphound.exe. So /sharphound.exe, because I'm in PowerShell. So in PowerShell, whenever you need to run exe file, you need to do /, and then I will say dash collection method all. And I think so I need to make it sensitive as well. So collection method all. Collection method all means that collect everything from this machine. So let's hit enter and let's see if it works or not. And I got an error message. If I run it without collection method, let's see what it shows. Yeah, looks like it is working now. Yeah, Linux Bloodhound Python is also good one, but both of them are equally fine. Both of them are equally fine. So Bloodhound Python is fine. Bloodhound Python is easy. Bloodhound Python is easy. Sharphound is difficult. But there are some cases in which I don't have a username and a password, most probably. So in this case, I do have, but when you will be going to do somewhere OSCP exam, when you will be going to do some much more advanced stuff, you will most probably you will not be having any username and password. So I think so Bloodhound Python does requires a username and a password exactly. So definitely that will be cause problem for you. So now if I do ls, Bloodhound has given me this zip file. I need to download it. So I'll simply do download and hit enter, and it will download the thing into my Kali Linux now. So that's the benefit of using evil winrm. Download successful. Ls, there it is, bloodhound.zip. If I do ls-la, I can see 18835 So my zip file is all correct. Now it's time to upload zip file over here. So I will simply upload it quickly. So now it's uploading right over here. Okay. So all of my data is uploaded successfully. Now I can come here, refresh the database, and now I can go into my analysis section. And right over here, you can see I can click on every query right over here. It is very easy, and I can click every query one by one and see what sort of things are here. So find all domain admin. So now I can see in my graphical view right over here, if I zoom this up a little bit, you can see that administrator at HTTP local is the domain admin. So I will right click this person and I will say mark this user as a high value. So this is a high value target. I will also mark this domain admin as high value, but Bloodhound has automatically done that for me, a diamond sign. Now let's see what else I can see. First thing first, what I always do is I tell this Bloodhound that what I already have compromised. So I will tell this person that, hey, I have compromised svc alfresco user. So I will search svc alfresco. I will click on this person. I will right click. I'll say mark this user as owned. Now it's this user is compromised. Now I can also click on this svc alfresco and I can see its stuff right over here. So let's say sibling objects in the same OU. So nothing right over here, service accounts, and then htb.local, reachable high value targets. This is very important. So let's see reachable high value targets, and I got a very huge graph. So looks like I do have something right over here. So reachable high value targets. Let's see. So svc alfresco right over here, I can see is a member of service account, then also a member of privilege IT account. So this means that svc alfresco is a member of privileged IT account. That's fine, but I want to have a path to a domain controller. Then privileged IT accounts also a member of account operators. So right now there is a direct relation of svc alfresco and account operators. This means that svc alfresco is directly a member of account operators. This is fine. Then it can say can ps remote into forest.htb.local, and forest.htb.local is a member of domain controllers group. And let's see what else we have right over here. So domain admin is over here. So let's see now what we have. So account operators, after account operators it gets stopped right over here, and after privilege IT accounts I can do something to forest.htb.local computer account, but actually I don't have any computer account right now. Exactly the same. So let's see what account operators can do. Can I have any other part from account operators? So if I click on account operators, I can see account operators right over here. Reachable high value targets. If I click on this one, now I get a different graph. Okay, I do have a path over here. So account operators have generic all. So if I zoom this up a little bit, in Bloodhound it is very hard to see small text right over here, but account operators have generic all on exchange windows permissions group, and then exchange windows permission group has write decal on HTTP. Now you will be going to see that how difficult it is to figure out like what I am doing right now, and I know hopefully for you it will not be making any sense, but hopefully in a few minutes it will make. So just concluding this all stuff from Bloodhound right over here, I can see that SVC Alfresco is a member of account operators group. Account operators has generic all. Generic all means that he can do anything on exchange windows permissions, and exchange windows permissions has write decal on local. Write decal means that he can write discretionary access control list. Access control list means that what a person can access, what can he cannot access on this complete domain. So guess what I can do? I am a member of account operators, which is I am. Yes, I can do everything on exchange windows permissions, right? So what I will do is I can do everything. So I will create a new user called Programmer Boy, and I will add him in this group. And Programmer Boy is a member of this group. Then what he can do? He can write decal onto the complete domain. So this means that I can give Programmer Boy access to dump all of the credentials of the domain, and then I can dump all of the credentials. So this is a misconfiguration. Let's start attacking it and let's see. So right now SVC Alfresco is a member of account operators. Okay, so let's first of all, what I will be going to do is I will be going to simply create a new user called Programmer Boy, and I will add him into this exchange windows permissions group because I have generic all access. Generic all means everything. So let's come back. So I will create a new user called Programmer Boy. So I will simply do init user Programmer Boy, and I will set its password as well. Let's say the password is Programmer Boy as well. Now since we saw that there is no password complexity, so I can set any password, no special cases and those sort of things. And then I will say add this to the domain. So this is the command to add any user with its password into the domain. Command got successfully added. So if I do init user Programmer Boy, now I can see that Programmer Boy is over here and he is a domain user. Now I want to add it in which group? Exchange windows permissions group, because exchange windows permissions has write decal on the domain. So let's add this user. So I will say init user, or I will say init group, and the group name is exchange windows permissions, and I will say add Programmer Boy, and I will hit enter, and I got an error message. Let's see, exchange windows, I just misspelled permission. So permissions, add Programmer Boy, command completed successfully. So now what I will do is I will do simply init user Programmer Boy, and now I can confirm that hey, Programmer Boy is a member of exchange windows permissions, which means that I have reached at this point, right? Now the only thing which I want to reach out here is the domain, which is http.local. And since I have, which means Programmer Boy has write decal access on http.local. So what Programmer Boy will do is he will try to grant himself DC sync rights. Now what is DC sync? Now DC sync rights in just short form, just to explain you, if Programmer Boy is granted DC sync rights, Programmer Boy can dump all the credentials of the domain of every user. That's all. So since I have write decal access, so I can grant myself DC sync rights. So let's see. For this purpose, I will be going to use a script call, because if I right click on this write decal in Bloodhound and click on help menu over here, Bloodhound also gives us some how to abuse this, right? So I can see Windows abuse, and these all are the commands which are given by Bloodhound. So I can copy paste and simply copy paste and execute those. So right over here, just ignore these first two lines. Then he says, then use add domain object ACL function, optionally specifying cred if you are already running a process as exchange. And then this is the command which I will be going to run, and I will give myself all of the things. So let's see. I will copy paste these commands into my notes, because I will just edit these commands, and that's all. And that's how a lot of people do in OSCP as well. So paste, and this one I will keep it as simple as possible, because I will show you some other stuff. So these three commands are the ones which are provided by Bloodhound, that you should use these. But this add domain object ACL function is from a script called PowerView. because if I scroll at the top somewhere, Bloodhound has written for me that these examples comes from PowerView. So PowerView is a script which I need to download and run it actually. So PowerView GitHub. So this is PowerView. Click on raw over here. Now I'll copy the link, and in my terminal I will simply do wget the link, enter, and it will download PowerView over here. I need to transfer it over here, so I will simply do upload PowerView.ps1, press tab auto completion, and PowerView is uploading on the target machine. And then I will load PowerView in the memory, and then I am all good to go for my work. Meanwhile, PowerView is uploading. Let's fix these commands which Bloodhound has provided me. So secure password, convert to secure string, password 123 exclamation mark. So I don't want my programmer boy user has not this password. My programmer boy password was again programmer boy. So I have fixed this one. Then credential object is new object system management automation PS credential, domain name, and then the username. So my domain and username is not this one. So my domain and username is different. So I will say htb.local and the username is programmer boy, like this. And finally, add a domain object ACL credential cred, which will store my username and password programmer boy from the top two variables. And then the target identity is again the domain name. I think so it's htb.local. This can cause a lot of problems for me. And right over here, I need to provide one more parameter which is not giving me. That is principal identity. So if I just show you this PowerView script, so Sublime PowerView, and if I search for add domain object ACL function right over here, if I see the syntax of this one parameter is target identity. It can be a SAM account name or distinguished name, which is CN is equal to NCN is equal to or DC is equal to whatever it is. I have done htb.local. I don't know, it is fine because I should have done DC is equal to HTB or DC is equal to local, but let's see if it will give me error. I will fix it out. Then I have one more parameter which is very important called principal identity, and I need to give the account name of the person who I want. So this is missing right over here in this command. So I will say dash principal identity, and principal identity is who? Programmer boy, and then the rights of DC sync. So now this command looks fine, and let's try to go for running these all one by one. So before that, I will load PowerView in the memory. So PowerView.ps1, enter, and this should be loaded in the memory. Loaded successfully. Now first command is this one, which is my secure password of programmer boy. Paste, enter. The second command is to store my username and password with the domain name as well in my cred variable. So paste, enter. Now the third one is the function add domain object ACL. Credential will be the credential of programmer boy. Target identity, principal identity. Let's see if this works. So if I hit enter now, and looks like it worked. I didn't got any error. So if this worked successfully and programmer boy has DC sync rights, this means programmer boy can dump all of the credentials. So for this purpose, I will be going to use again impacket, and the best script from that one is impacket dash secrets dump. Okay, so secrets dump, and then I will simply give that, hey, programmer boy is a username. So programmer boy is the username on this IP, which is 1010. Enter, and I will give the password of programmer boy. Enter again, and let's see if programmer boy has DC sync rights. If I have done everything correct, I should get. But right now, I got an error message which says that the distinguished name specified for this replication operation is invalid. So let's see what I have done. Yeah, exactly. So the distinguished name right over here, I need to add it. So let's try to change this command. And if I do, I think so DC is equal to HTB and comma DC is equal to local, which is the domain name just. So we need to specify like this. Let's see if this works now or no. So come back to my terminal, paste, enter. Now it did work again. Let's come back and let's run impacket secret stump again. Enter programmer boy as the password again, and let's see what it works now. And there you go. Exactly, it was the problem of distinguished name. So now you can see I am dumping all of the credentials of the domain, and this is a real finding from me as well. I was pen testing a real world engagement, and I did the same thing, and actually I was able to get the complete one. And you can see on htb.local I have the administrator hash as well. So now it's fairly simple for me. I can use ps exec with this administrator hash. So I can copy this complete hash of administrator. I can say impacket dash ps exec administrator at 10 10 10. And since I have the hash, so I will need to provide the hashes like this. I will hit enter now, and hopefully if this hash is fine for the administrator, I should log in. And impacket ps exec works on port 445, so port 45 should be open if you're using ps exec to log in. And there you go. So if I type in who am I am anti-authorities system, and I have a complete control, and I am the domain administrator for this forest machine. And this is how we perform some active directory attacks, and we get in and gain complete domain controller access. Okay, so we have a question. Yes, most of the steps are get caught by same or different blue teaming sort of stuff. Yes, but this technique which I showed you right over here of impacket secrets dump, this was in my real world pen test, and he was using edr. So I actually did some stuff over there, and I was having access, and I used impacket secrets dump to dump the things. What happened was that I was able to dump the credentials of all of the domain, but their edr and all of the same tools actually generated all of the alerts that this user has done this, all of the stuff, but they didn't stop me out. So yes, they can raise red flags for blue team people to investigate exactly, but our work is done. So this is one of the things. And the other thing is that if you don't want to generate an alerts, you need to obfuscate your tools, and you need to do a lot of different other stuff as well. Yeah, so that was all about this session on active directory.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you very much, Ali, for the great session.
Yeah.
It was very easy to follow. It was very in depth. Sure, it was an easy box on Hack the Box, but it doesn't really register as an easy machine, as you said. It really feels
Yes,
more
exactly.
difficult. But yeah, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask them now. Hopefully, if Ali has some more time in the future, maybe he can join us for a second session, of course. But
Yeah,
take your
sure.
time. Take your time now to, if there's anything still that you haven't understood, like to ask the question. Yeah, and yeah. So CTFL is asking, what if
Yeah,
the
so
S
what
rep?
what is AS rep did not work. So you need to try a lot of other stuff. So as I told that you should generate some password list, and you should enumerate some more usernames. You should get some passwords. You should password spray on SMB, and you should try to find some other ways. There are a lot of ways to actually move on. So AS repros is not only the way to get in. There are a lot of attacks. Try to find out some latest attacks which are being released. There was some bugs which we just released right now. I tested on the domain controllers, and I got domain admin right away. So this happens a lot as well.
Yeah. So it's not always that you'll find the SRAP, of course, but in the more difficult machines, you will definitely like not find SRAP roasting. You'll have to
Yeah,
find a more difficult way to get in. So
exactly.
yeah, let's see if there's any more questions. I see Stalker says my brain is still catching up. Yeah, hopefully in the recording, maybe also try to do the machine yourself now that you've seen it once, because then when you try to do it, you will, because Ali can do it smoothly, you know. So
Yeah,
he can do it smoothly. He knows how to do it, but like if you would try it, then probably some areas you would like have to troubleshoot and try again. So, but then you will learn. Yeah, yeah. Graag gedaan, Moyan. You give your thinking again. Thanks a lot. Yeah, I think that's about it for all the questions. So Ellie, thanks a lot for your time, and
no problem
hopefully
at all.
we'll see you back again. And everyone,
Yeah, sure.
thanks for being here and being present and asking questions and everything. And hopefully we'll see you again on Sunday, because then we'll continue do the TG Knowles list. So yeah, till
Exactly.
Sunday hopefully again. Thank you everyone.
Yeah,
Have a nice day.
thank you very much. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.